Oh, shucks, we live. Look at us. Hey,
All
y'all.
right, now, hey everybody, we
Welcome to the
live,
Piranha Pod, live at 5. We in
live
this
at
joint,
5, 7 Central Time.
7 Central in the building. We are waiting on our illustrious host to
Not that
tap
much
in.
longer.
Not, but there we go. One time.
I go to Kingfish.
What's up, y'all?
What's up to our favorite uncle?
Shit. Shooting for live from the remote location.
Remote.
You ain't that remote.
Everywhere.
It's in the
Shooting
background.
live from the remote.
All I know is you better not end up broke.
Oh no, never that. Here, let's see what I can show you. Here we go.
Woo, look at that strip.
Live on location, goddammit.
Live on location. Everybody not
We
able.
are, and we are live as
Right.
usual from the Piranha Pod. Hey, welcome everybody from YouTube and Facebook land. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Piranha Pond StreamCast. I am your illustrious host, Kingfish Mac, joined as usual by the Piranhas in the pond. And you got my boy Nunflyer. What's going on with you, baby boy?
What to do, man? Trying to get my angle on. See my camera moving. Slow the cameras. We getting it in now. Bam! There you go.
That's right. That's right. And also bringing beauty to the pond as usual is my girl Nick Mo. What's
What
going
up,
on, Shell? How you doing,
everybody?
baby?
Happy Wednesday, hump day. Yes.
There it is.
Get it over with.
I
One
know
more
that's
day to the weekend.
Man, halfway there.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Because most people weekend start on Friday. So one more day.
No. What you guys been doing in the last 24?
Oh man, car. Trying to get my old
Oh,
radiator
that's right.
together. My radiator together.
So was it the radiator? Because I thought that you said it was too
Yeah.
new to be the radiator.
Yeah, it was radiator. It was under warranty, so I get the paperwork from the boy. It was electronic, so they handled all that shit. The part of being Wednesday.
That's
Well,
good.
tomorrow, not Wednesday. Part of being tomorrow, order today.
I'm
I
sorry
drop
for
it in
you.
tomorrow. I should be good after that, man. I checked my hoses, wasn't no cracks in them, no leaks in the hoses, so it had to be the radiator. I should just threw up all my fluids.
Don't be
So,
afraid to walk.
oh no, never that. I busted and all that. Bust it, bust it,
No.
bust it, bust it, bust it. And it's
Walk
free.
50 miles
Long
if
as
you
that,
got to.
as long as we COVID it, the bus is free. So I ain't got a problem with that at all.
Oh, y'all
At
still
all.
buses still free out there?
Yeah, and
Oh, that's
and
good.
and where I work at from where I stay, it's only one bus. So
Okay.
one bus there, one bus back. Like in 21 minutes, like I get there. Believe that. I'll be get that's how I got to work before I got my car. So I'm on
All
it.
right.
Right, right,
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
As for me, shit, as you can see, I'm in transit.
Yeah.
You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? On low key turnaround cation. It ain't a staycation or a vacation.
Turncation.
Right, it's a turncation, right? So I should be back home uh, probably later, early in the morning at the latest. So we all good for tomorrow as well, right? What are we doing here? What are we doing today? Oh, I know what we're doing. Um, a lot of us, most of us, have school age kids and have had to deal with this whole idea of distance learning, which basically put us all back in school again, and having an entirely different kind of responsibility in terms of our children and their education. You know, what it used to be is just drop them off in the morning, you know what I'm saying, or send them in the morning and expect them back at 3:30. But now we kind of faced with something new, and even though it's kind of opening up in a lot of places around the country, um, In California, it seems like I think you're given a choice. Well, in Atlanta, you don't have the choice. They still closed until the beginning of next year, next school year. But the question for today is, how have we as a community been dealing with cyber education slash distance learning during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Before we start, right? I don't know how I let this get by me, right? We send a shout out to my boy Nick Nass. Uh, Nick Nass had a run to make earlier today. He called me at 5:30 this morning. Told me he was on the road trying to make it back up the mountain to get to some internet, and he got caught up in traffic. So he might not make it today, but he's here in spirit. Um, you know what I'm saying? As usual, you know, we look forward to him being back tomorrow with some of the fresh Nick isms for y'all
Nickism.
asses. Right. So okay, back to cyber education slash distance learning during the pandemic. How are we dealing with it?
I brought it up earlier because I was noticing how the kids are just so set on. Okay, so first of all, it's a totally different thing being in the house with them all the time, like all the time, and you get to learn a lot about them. And I've noticed that a lot of the teachers have put forth a lot of effort, man, in making sure our kids stay some type of educated. Like
Right.
they be on their stuff, like on the computers, holding gym dance classes, and on their shit, holding the viewing things, and the kids be all bad, turning off their computer screens, and they can't, physically send them to the office and talk to them. So I know they frustrated, but I think it also puts a
Hey
I
Trace.
don't. I don't believe it's a unless the parents are totally bought in. I don't believe it's a good idea to educate like this.
TJ, what's up, nephew?
Yeah, it's rough with that.
It's rough. It's
And
crazy,
then you
right?
kind of have to,
And
I
then
mean, whether that, I mean, not have to do it that,
yeah,
right?
if it's I think it's harder for them to grasp the concepts, especially if you have parents that aren't computer literate or don't know how to go to different sites and look up different shit because that ain't what they do. Uh, especially for the older grandparents that raise kids that are younger that are in school.
Mhm.
Like I think it's crazy. I It took me a minute to get into the whole linking with the school and different emails to check the different things and whether the school assignments are done, and that was an
And
experience for me. Right.
and even the ones that are like who can do it, who can grasp it, and who can get a hold of it, you know, uh, hell, it's just a attention thing,
It's attention
and stuff
span.
like that. It doesn't, like most of them are, that's not doing well. It's not because that they don't know it, or they look like I've seen people that have been like straight A's and B's in school struggling because it's just an attention thing. It's just like you can't, just trying to stay focused, and really it's a discipline thing. Trying to discipline yourself to just sit there and just do it, and that's a lot of children.
Yeah, but how do you do that with kids though?
Well,
At
that's what I'm saying. That's a
7
lot of
and
children, and I'll
6.
say children
You
because
know what I'm
I'm not
saying?
saying just babies. I'm saying like even to the older ones
Even
too.
though some of the older
Right.
ones,
Period.
Right.
preteens and
Right.
shit.
Because you
Right.
got some that just grasp it though. Even the transition from being in class to being on computer, some
Right. And
kids
it's not
learn by
even about.
competition.
And I said that in lack of a better phrase, it wasn't even about really about grasping it. It's just that are you that disciplined just to sit there and then get off that call and then go do work, and then make sure that you have to turn it in on time. Like all that's taking a lot of discipline. I mean, even like and I'm you even feeling it on the college and university level. Like I'm in school right now, and the three classes that I took this semester, uh, they were online classes, but it, it's it's different. It's
It's
totally
It
different.
is.
self taught,
It's different.
and 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 you got to develop your own study pattern, and what's the give on that? Like, because you're teaching yourself. Am I gonna study all the time? Like this whole semester, I was in a constant state of study. When I did things around me studying. Like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna chill out this weekend because or I'm gonna go out of town. Everything was outside of study. Because usually if I was home with the computer on, either sitting in the bed or I was at the library or camped out in my brother's house or something. I was always in a state of studying, and I had to like it. Like I had to be disciplined enough to stop, to be like, I need to put this down. I need to rest my eyes. I need to get some good sleep. And also if I needed to like jump in on a weekend and do something because I knew I had something, I had to be disciplined enough to be like, okay, well, I gotta do this weekend. I gotta really dedicate to it. So it's I think everybody's feeling it all the way around.
That's a good
That's a
question,
damn good
TJ.
question. Damn good question.
Well, for
I,
me, since I'm still on the fence about the whole vaccine, I'm not as much on the fence as I may have been last week, right? Um,
Keith,
I would
before
say,
you answer that, also she said, I wanna counter what she said too. Like, what if you're on a fence on it, but what if your kids want to take it because they do want to go back to school, they do want to start going outside. So not just
mhm.
about you being on the fence on it. What if you're on the fence on it, but your kids want to take it?
Well, for me, it's easy, right? Because, like I said, I'm more like on the side of the fence of going on and taking it. You know what I'm saying? And just going on and jumping on what, um, going against what little skepticism I have. Because the skepticism that I have is based upon, just the way that the government has kind of lied to us consistently, throughout history, as well as, like I said before, me knowing that this was a grand opportunity financially for a lot of big, for big pharma, you know what I'm saying? And for us not to have had, one third of the time that any other drug would go to test, go through the test studies and shit. And for them to be wanting to stick the shit in my arm, I consider myself part of the test study. And I don't fuck around. You know what I'm saying? So it's that kind of thing. But on the other side, I know quite a few people who have taken the both shots, you included, Shell, what I'm saying, who haven't, passed out, what I'm saying, fell out and been checked into the hospital. And so I think that right at this stage of the game, for me, it's just I'm a big punk when it comes down to pain, right? I could do a whole bunch of hurt to you, but I can't stand no hurt to me, right? So I ain't trying to fucking just get sick on purpose type shit, right? That's my
Right.
whole thing, right?
Signing up for symptoms, right?
Right, do I
Like,
got 2 days in my life to just lay on the couch and just be sick on purpose? Nah, maybe
signing
next
up
week.
for
That's what I
symptoms.
keep telling myself.
maybe next week.
If it came down to my child's education, then I'm definitely gonna go with I'm gonna err on the side of science because all for this whole last 2.5 years or whatever, I've been bashing Trump in the Trumpites for not listening to the fucking scientists. So I gotta listen to their ass, regardless if I have this little bit of skepticism. Besides which, my kid, he would be telling me, right? Kimari was the one that was getting me to go get tested, 2, 3 times, that type of shit, right? So yeah, most definitely, we would go ahead on and take that shot in the arm and get the guy back in the school type of thing, right? I think school serves more of a purpose than just learning facts, recitation of
Yeah,
facts and formulas.
yeah.
I
It's
think it's a
social
whole
skills.
right.
Yeah,
It's
all
right,
that.
exactly. Your whole social growth and development is kind of dependent upon what you're doing in those adolescent even at the beginning years, right? At preschool, first and elementary school age, you kind of develop, the kid is developing who they are as a child. Here, let me say this, right? To kind of complement what Shell was saying, I too have been on the other end of cyber education shit where, I jumped out the window one semester and took 3 online classes. Like, shit, this is online. I ain't got to go. It's going to be I get through this so easy. No.
No.
Them 3 classes I took.
No. And you got to wait to ask a question. And if the question is serious enough, you got to make an appointment to take your ass to the campus during the professor's office hours.
And I had
to go sit down and talk to his ass. And I had to go quite a few.
I asked something on Monday, and she might not even respond back until Thursday or Friday. And I'm like, I need you to be better. Like,
yeah, learn it shit on your own. Correspondence courses, online courses, cyber school. All of that shit takes. It's a different type of discipline. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That goes into that kind of learning. And unfortunately, most of our kids don't have that because, we so busy trying to take our ass to work. You know what I'm saying? Let's get your ass up and, eat this pancake stick.
Right.
Got cereal and the sausage and everything in it on the way out the door. Get your ass on that school bus so I can get my ass to work.
Well, I'm hoping we'll see a lot more cooperation between parents and teachers now, as in like what you may have in some ways took for granted. Ultimately you have to give a little bit more respect to the people that are watching your kids all day because you seen your kids in their fucking element, and some people found out that their kids were great, and then others found out that them calls home meant something.
Not so much. Not so great. Not so great.
This motherfucker acting up out, and I'm watching him act out. I'm watching him tell the teacher off O-line, and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that there's that more bridge of not so much like when you call it an attitude. It's like, okay, I'm with you, and stuff like that. I'm a definitely do my part to make sure my kid is not being that kid in the class. Not making it harder for everybody else. And something that here it is. You as a parent had to damn near take a year and a half off. Had to do shit differently. So you ate money too. So hopefully, and also too, like everybody who was in favor of them teachers getting them raises, I hope this was an eye opener that give people their money.
Yeah, they need their money. Not only that though.
They out here providing more than a third.
Right. So to answer the first part or my man's question, since I'm not in it by myself, I would have to consult Meeklin on the whole shot thing because she feel pretty much how I feel about it. But for our kids in our education, this is something altogether different. So we would have to come together and talk about that.
Most definitely.
If it was a no-go and we had to educate cyberly, I don't think it would be a problem. Because our setup is kind of cool. Like the people in our daycare, they're black and they are heavy on education. So when we send our kids to daycare with their online learning, they pretty much get it done. And whatever they don't do or act up, they hit Meeklin on the hip like right away. So I don't think it would be that big of a task. I appreciate the teachers out here, or at least my kids' school, because that's a testament to teachers who care. Because they be on. They be on. You know what I'm saying? You have some I've heard that don't. Call off because they don't feel like it. I'm at home, say y'all at home, whatever. But these teachers are showing up every day. Like I said, they bringing their families into it, having little dance party PEs and getting it all the way did. And I appreciate them for that, man. Because
most definitely.
I don't believe mine are lacking. I just believe
shout out to all the teachers that's
shout out
hanging
to
in
all
there.
the teachers, man, that's getting it in. Because I appreciate it for sure.
As a parent, do you feel like you actually got involved in the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, at first we kind of had to, so I got laid off. I was off too for like 3 months. You know, they shut us down too, so I was here with them.
Okay.
Meekland was working from home, so she was on them. You know, so yeah,
Okay.
we was in it. We was in it. You know,
Right.
and then
In my
so
case,
yeah,
How my sister referred to herself as the lunch lady. Breakfast,
yeah,
lunch, and
right.
the
You got
lunch
to be
lady.
in it,
The lunch
and
lady going to get lunch today.
they
What
take
y'all
their
want?
breaks.
Everybody putting in their order.
Yeah, take their breaks, and everybody got to be back on when they're supposed to be on, and
Right. Right.
it's a different thing, man. I just believe that the classroom is important, basically
Right.
for development. You know,
Right. I
so
I
go.
what
felt
happened?
so
What?
so bad for like the kids this year, like the kids that are seniors this year. I was more near to
Yeah,
my heart because my niece is a junior, so I'm hopeful that she will have a normal senior year, so she'll always have that type of memory. It was rough for them this year. There was no interaction. It was just online, and that's horrible when you're like that whole junior senior thing. Getting ready. You got all your stuff like even within this, they were able to manage to pull off their green ceremony, but outside and stuff like that. Uh, I'm glad prom was more on the inside of it, so they were able to do an outside prom and stuff like that, and had a really really good time and stuff like that. Just something that's normal, lack of a better phrase, because what's normal to anybody, but stuff like that I would associate as being a normal process for being, a junior or senior and stuff like
yeah,
that.
because you work hard to walk. You know what I'm saying? You work
You
hard to
walk
hit
hard,
that
you work
stage.
hard to
Just
walk,
to hit
right?
that goddamn stage,
Right.
man. So
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so I'm glad. So I hope her senior year will be an awesome senior year. They can do their things, and I know that my sister too, youngest, that they even something looking forward to going back into the classroom again. I just think that they miss their friends, they miss their interaction, but it's also going to get them back on track because I've just just again it doesn't mean that you're a bad kid or anything like that, but most of them just want that outside of high school it was really hard for them to be that disciplined.
Sorry about that, y'all.
no,
Hmm.
sorry, we get OG baby airplane pauses. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Get the OG baby
that's a
airplane
whole
pauses.
helicopter too, right? But yeah, we live at the pod, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Parks
How
and
it
Recs.
go.
We open till 8.
You know what I'm saying?
So silly boy.
So look, um, I was thinking about something real interesting, right? But let me take you back a little bit. So when the pandemic first was announced, we were in the last couple of months of the school year.
Mhm.
Kimari was in the sixth grade out here, fifth grade. So out here, fifth grade graduates elementary school.
Yeah.
So his next year was going to be middle school,
Junior high school.
right?
Yup.
Well, no, middle, because junior high school starts at 7.
Oh
It's,
yeah.
it's funny. I had to discover all this shit, right? Because it was junior high when I went to school too. But anyway, so school was stopped. There was no Zoom class and no shit like that, right? It was just no school. Kids just at the house. You at the house with them, right? Figuring it out. When the end of the year came and they decided that they wanted to graduate the class, they simply graduated everybody, right? Now, mind you, this is elementary school. Um, but I always ask myself, I wonder how they dealt with that at the middle school and high school level, where you are required to have a particular amount of credits in order to get your diploma. You know what I'm saying? And you guys stopped school in the middle of the last semester. That would make everybody short of those credits, right? Unless
Right.
everybody was above. So that same thinking comes into my question now. In terms of we had an entire school year that was Zoom meetings, right? So for our secondary and middle school children who were at the graduate level, do
Right.
you think that they were sufficiently able to adapt to Zoom classes in order to keep up at the pace that they should have been in order to maintain the grades and get the credits to graduate? Or do you think that there was somehow a lessening of the standard and being attributed to the pandemic? Keeping in mind, however, that in most of our communities, right, we the schools perform markedly lower percentage-wise than more affluent neighborhood schools that are our counterparts. So do you think that maybe our kids may have been held to a lower standard in order to kind of get them out the way? Or do you think that they actually learned what they needed to learn in order to get the hell out of high school and in junior high school?
No, I believe that they basically lowered the standard, and they're going to blame it on the pandemic, primarily because that transition from in class to online takes time, bro. That shit takes time, bro.
That was,
You know what I'm
that
saying?
was my big question.
And a
How do
lot
you
of people
expect
didn't
these
even have
kids
the
to help you
equipment. A lot of
maintain?
motherfuckers don't have laptops. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers,
Right.
kids is barely having tablets, so they had to pass out equipment to all these students. That, you know what I mean? I think they just talked the last end of that season up. I mean, after the school
Kids
year
and
up,
parents had to learn how to
how
become
to
computer literate
right, how to
overnight.
at least with that little particular program or whatever. Like you had to learn that. You had to know how to do that. So yeah, I believe they just chalked the end of the year up on that one. Like everybody passed the pass because you was in it, not necessarily because you deserved it.
I think it just might have really depended on the school, where it was, and what they had
And
going
also the
on.
students, but
Because
at
and
the
on the
same time,
students and the reason I say that is because, like, for instance, like my niece, she did dual. She had a couple of classes that were dual classes. Like her math, she's really accelerated in math. So she had dual college math classes, and it was no slack up on that. She was still doing what she was doing. Still end up, getting, like, at least to be in the class, and stuff like that. So I, I'm not. I'd be interested to see what the metrics really were and what was the
right?
curves really were, but I don't know. That's a hard one because
Isn't it though?
because like I said, because I see what I see her doing, and
And not really know whether she's the exception. You know what I'm
but
saying?
and I definitely don't want to say that. So that's why I was like, I think, I don't know.
Yeah, that is it.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Was
So,
there a curve, and I guess we'll find out. I guess within the
well,
next 2 years you'll really find out. Seniors that graduated, I'd be interested to see what are the statistics
what
of
do they know?
their first year of college. You know, um, I mean, because you still have the ACT and you still have to make out good on stuff like that. I mean, they're still doing that.
Right.
So
The
some type of
competency test
degree,
and all that going out of
so
high
that's what
school
I said.
still
So in
have to
some
be
type of
had.
degree,
Yeah.
they have to still learn it to successfully still pass it. I mean, they wasn't
Yeah.
getting encouraged on the ACT and the SAT.
Yeah, that's why all the
So
competency
Well,
classes
again,
still had to be done.
that's kind of my point, right?
mhm.
So, what I'll say is based on, we're just gonna call it third party experience, right?
Mhm.
Um, the thing that I noticed about Kimari's class, right? Because Kimari graduated elementary, um, basically second highest in the district in his particular class, right? So the kid is smart as shit, right? So you would expect for him to have an accelerated rate of learning, right? So step into, now he has to juggle 5 classes, right?
Right.
What I noticed coming in and out is that Kimari's interaction in whatever lesson in the class was pretty much continuous. And what I used to say to myself, sitting on the couch listening to this dude in the room, is, damn, you ain't gonna give the other kids an opportunity to speak up. But then what I also thought about is this: if I'm the teacher, then I'm going to be interacting with the kid that's interacting with me the most, right?
Exactly.
As kind of like an example and additional learning tool for the rest of the kids who are basically sitting at a lecture online as though they're college students. So what I would say is that the kids that displayed more aptitude probably got more specialized or more focalized attention, right? And in terms of the SATs and the ACTs, funny thing about that is that the SAT and ACT conversation is generally only a conversation that's had in the household where where there has been provisions and an expectation made for the kid to go to college. What I've experienced, most of my friends, and because I'm a middle class kid that lives a ghetto ass life, right? So most of my friends' kids have no aspirations for going to college. They can't wait for high school to be over. So they ask to go get some little job in the warehouse and be grown, right? Nobody can't tell their ass what to do no more. And then they do a couple of years of that before they decide to, go to the military, take a couple of classes. And you realize that this being grown shit ain't all what it was cracked up to be, right? Speaking of which,
Right.
personal experience. So I think that the ACT, those college entrance exam scores are really not given a lot of credence in our neighborhoods. Man, we've barely got guidance counselors at the fucking high schools. You know what I'm saying? And the guidance counselor is generally telling you, based upon your particular scores, that you should be looking for junior college, vocational school, some type of certification shit, or, go to the military. It's very rare that you have counselors creating the expectation in the kids that they'll go to college when the parents are ill-equipped to put them through college, right? Like we could give you all the shit,
Give them that false hope almost like.
but you ain't getting in USC on no financial aid. You get in USC on a scholarship.
Right.
Might get in there on financial aid.
No, not on financial aid, man. Ain't that much aid in the world.
Them 40 years gonna cost you about $690,000.
That's all right. You just have to mortgage everything in the house.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we gonna mortgage that nigga brain in education. The nigga get on there with an educational scholarship and he gonna go dunk on somebody. But we go get him in there, goddammit. That's all.
But hey, you know what? That is another thing, right? And I've been blessed. My life has been the gift and the curse, right? In a variety of different ways. So we'll start with me, right? Because I don't want to exclude myself from this Rogers boy shit is what I call it, right? So all of us, me, right? All three of my sons, right? And then all three of my sons, right? We're all kind of born with an aptitude for learning, right? Now people call that, right? All the gifted, all that shit, right? It's just an aptitude for being able to learn, period, right? And it's above average, admittedly. However, we've all squandered it, right? We've all started out, the 3-year-old that could read, the 5-year-old going to kindergarten that was doing second grade math, smartest kid in your class through elementary school, junior high school, you stop giving a damn about school. High school, you just barely making it through. Fuck some college, right? Like you get some college. I went to college because I went to youth authority, right? It was a lucky break, put me right on track, right? I entered college, right? Well, I graduated college right when I would have graduated college. But only because I went to YA, because if my ass would have stayed on the streets, I wouldn't have did a damn thing, right? I would have just been a smart nigga that's, on the streets, trying to be the nickel bag king or whatever the hell, right? So my kids are kind of like the same, right? Except that they have not followed me, down this dark path. They've all kind of done something legitimate or at the very least stayed the hell out of jail. But in terms of taking that level of intelligence and, embracing them gate classes all throughout school and getting in an accelerated college program while you're still in high school, because they all qualify for that shit, right? And then me being on their ass, you know what I'm saying, and then producing some doctors, lawyers, engineers, congressmen, you know what I'm saying, because all my kids have the ability, the potential to have been that. But I think that I've been the bad example, right? I've been the example of what not to be, but I've also been the example of simply just making it. You know what I'm saying? Not really being aspirational or having this, well, my dad is, Dr. Cosby-ish. You know what I'm saying? So I got to live up to this expectation. My niggas be like, man, my dad been whoop de whoop whoop. I ain't doing that shit. I'm saying, but I appreciate it because I don't want them niggas to be like me at all. I want to take advantage of, whatever intellectual capabilities they have and then apply what drive you have seen me employ for your entire lives, right? Because I ain't never been to sleep on the park bench, lay up on some woman and let her take care of me ass nigga, right? I'm always going to grind it out until, they turn out the lights on this fucking bad boy on my ass and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got no retirement plan on purpose. I'm going to be doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's supposed to be. And I hope that they would take that from me and apply whatever, smarts they have and shit. But in terms of the SAT, ACT shit, man, people don't give a damn about us going to college. No. They don't believe that we're supposed to go, and they don't believe that we're going to be able to go.
Nah, we got to care.
The few that do are the ones that you get paid attention to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That you straight A student, you know what I'm saying, 4.0 all the way through high school, taking honors classes.
The ones that if they don't pay attention to, you could possibly get sued for not paying attention to. How about that? Other than that, you better be slamming balls and running yards, motherfucking hitting balls over yards, over walls, fucking
If you show
hitting walls.
Right. It seems to me that if you show any indication of being a normal teenager, with all the teenage fuck ups that you're gonna do, you know what I'm saying, and learning how to become a good person in life, if you exhibit any of that shit, then the powers that be kind of lose interest in you, especially if you're black. You know what I'm saying? You're not really paying attention. They expect for your ass to go get, a county job or some shit, you know what I'm saying? And, in 30 years, pay off your house and retire and get the fuck out the way. Don't be going to them goddamn Black Lives Matter meetings either.
Yeah, that's what they expect.
You'll fire your ass. Fuck around and fire
that is the exact opposite of what we own, though. They can expect that all they want.
Retire, get out the way.
Opposite of what we own.
Not go no Black Lives Matter rap.
Again, we got to put ours through college our goddamn selves. We go do it at the same time.
I'm a little bit more optimistic. I really feel like, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like if more people care, then they don't.
Well, what I will say is this, y'all. Even though we come from the same background, right? Where education is really stressed in our family, secondary education, college, take your ass to college and shit, right? Personally, just me, I didn't, right? I got a degree, right? I got a degree like every fucking body else, right? I just got mine in an unorthodox manner. Right. But what I'm saying is that my life and the life that I've chosen, not the life that I was brought up around, that college education is not really stressed. If your kid goes to college or to the army, oh man, he's the hero of the neighborhood. You feel what I'm saying? Because so many of our kids don't. It's not even expected. You expect for your kid, first of all, from 15 to 18, I've been wanting to kick your ass out any fucking way, right? You're a terror on two wheels, right? So now you 18 and you think you grown. Oh, go be grown. Get your ass a job, get the fuck out of my house. That'd be kind of the attitude, even though you ain't gonna kick them out, right? So when they decide to go, right, you be waiting, right? Like, okay, shit. I'm grown, you grown, right? But I got a key, right? I got a key because I pay for this bitch, right? So 2:30 in the morning comes, I don't give a fuck if my car is there. I ain't answering no fucking door.
Right.
Nigga, go back where you was at
Right.
with your grown ass.
I don't care if
You know,
my car's there.
man, I be on some shit like that, man. I need my rest, man. I get up and hustle from 8 to 8. You know what I'm saying? So all that,
You
ripping
got
and
to answer
running,
the door.
I ain't answering. Ring the doorbell, come on, I'll be looking at your ass.
Who is that and why?
Doorbells get turned down at 12 o'clock. Now I ain't gonna hear you.
Don't nobody do that. Don't do that.
Wow.
What I was gonna say is that typically McLean's, right, kind of stress education, and especially, New Orleans McLean's and, all our various married in families, right, really, really stress education. And that's one of the things that makes me proud of where I come from, is that I get to brag on my cousins and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? For real, right? That's really doing positive shit because they took education serious. It was stressed. It was stressed by the people who didn't have no fucking education, right? Who had blisters on their hands and shit from working from sun up to sundown, so their kids didn't have to. And a lot of our people took advantage of that, you know what I'm saying? And then their kids are taking advantage of that. Like I said, we got a lot to be proud of. And so I understand where you would be coming from when you say that you believe that, a lot of people still do. Because I think a lot of people still do too. There are a lot of families that are like our family. But there are so many people that are like the families that I live around. Right. Feel what I'm saying? And in my life, I've promised to tell no lies on this podcast, right? And just in my life, that just simply is not the conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's more the exception than it is the rule, for real, for real. It's a shame that it's that way. Right. I got a stepson that's in the Army right now, right? And that nigga left and went to go to the Army, and I say stepson just because I'm talking to you. And when I say son, you'll think I'm talking about Keith. But my son Peppy, right? It's my son's son for all intents. This nigga been there. I've been there since this nigga was 3, right? It's my son. That nigga graduated from high school, left to go to college. First thing, my heart was so swole up when that nigga got out of the ghetto to go to college. And then he came back, right? And I was like, man, don't get sucked up with, by these streets. But he came back with a plan. And nigga said, Dad, look, man, I'm fixing to go to the Army. I was like, the Army? You sure? He said, man, look, I ain't staying around here. It ain't shit out here, man. What I'm gonna do? Just end up just being on the streets and shit, just chilling, trying to make it happen? Fuck that. I'm gonna go to the Army. Man, when that nigga left to the Army, my heart, like I said, it almost jumped out of my chest. And to this day, you know what I'm saying, I'm so proud of this boy. You know what I'm saying? But just imagine that, right? It's not like we talking about a kid that graduated from Howard, you know what I'm saying, with doctorate and shit like that, right? But my point is that, the things that we hold value in, right, are generally not the things that the Black leadership tells us that as a community we should. You know what I'm saying? We find our value in our own shit, right? So the same swelling pride value that the Dr. Huxtable would have for a Theo graduating college is the same pride that I have for Peppy taking his ass to Japan, fucking Cuba. And you know what I'm saying? Like, my nigga is seeing some shit. I ain't seen none of this. My ass been right here in these US fucking A doing time. Right.
Especially with the way the wars are being fought now. It's not like our granddaddies and great granddaddies wars, man. It's a little bit better time to get out there and be a patriot if that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't got to worry about getting your ass shot off all like that.
Yeah, that's the trip, right? How I was really just talking and Peppy came up, but TJ, Tejon Malone, is Peppy's best friend.
Oh, wow.
Okay, for sure.
And thank you for your service too, TJ.
Yes, sir. Damn, for sure.
Them is my boys, man. Them is my boys, and they went to shits for real, right? Like, they really make you proud, for real, for real.
Yeah, that's good shit. And even in times now, like that secondary education isn't. I mean, in broad span, ain't as important as it used to be because a lot of people are getting off into different areas of different shit with the onset
Right.
of the
Much
information age.
entrepreneurial
You know what I'm
shit, a
saying?
lot of
Right.
digital
So
age business.
yeah. It's different times. Different
Right.
times. You know what I mean?
We in the digital business ourselves, in the 2021. We just got to figure out a way to make it pay.
Right.
Right.
It's gonna
Right.
come,
right,
man. It's gonna
right,
come, man.
right now, we just donate to the people because we know the people gonna
Loving the
support
people.
us in the
Yeah,
end.
man. Loving the
All we
people,
can say
man.
is like, subscribe, and share.
That's it.
Hey,
Hey,
like,
keep on
subscribe, and
supporting.
share.
Keep on supporting, man.
Hold us
Keep on
down.
powering us. Keep
Hold
on
us
being the
down.
power of us. Got the
We
wind
giving it
beneath
to
our
y'all for an
wings.
hour, Monday through Friday. Hold us down. Hold us down.
I think I'm gonna figure out how to do a GoFundMe for the pond that will kind of keep us up because I don't think people realize that we got to pay for equipment and fucking stream time and this that and the third and shit. It take a little bit. I mean it's
Yeah,
not
dude.
much. And it'll be cool to have the people kind of looking out for us with little small donations and shit, right? $2, $3. Shit, shit that ain't gonna hit nobody's pocket, but we'll figure it out. We'll definitely figure it out.
Yeah. And they're all part of education, goddamn. We've got to educate ourselves
In the
during this pandemic.
meantime,
You know what I'm saying?
let us uh, not slack on giving my girl Nick Mo her props on the cyber education
In
side of the
the
game.
building.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because we got
Our
to
resident
recognize that you
scholar.
just
What's up,
finished up
Bob?
your shit. You know what I'm saying? And we are
Yeah,
so proud of you,
I
man.
passed all three of my classes this
That's
semester.
what
I
I'm
was
Oh, of
talking
very
course
about.
you
happy
did.
about that.
Talk
Of
your
course you
shit,
did.
goddammit. Talk
I
your
did. I
shit.
passed it off. I had been in school over 25 years. I took three my majors, medical billing and coding, and I jumped off the bat with three classes that I could take because I decided pretty late that I was going to go, and kind of taking some stuff out of order. So I had held data structure, medical ethics, and jumping in the beginning of my coding and insurance. All
That's
three of them required a lot. All three of them really they require, they each equally require the same type of attention, and stuff like that. Like everything was due by every Wednesday at 11:59. And when I mean to tell you that I was working up until 11:59, I mean I was doing it before the podcast. But that's why sometimes I'd be like, gotta go, y'all. I have to go. Like,
right,
Yeah, we
right, right.
understand. We get
dedicate
it.
I
the
already
hours
know.
to it and then
Yeah.
just jump right back in it and stuff like that. And again, I try to give myself, like the
Yes, you did.
weekend, like the relax, and usually by Sunday night, Monday morning, I was jumping back in it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, easily I was gone all day at the library. At the library, in my brother's house, any place where anybody will allow me to come and sit down and stretch my stuff, put my stuff out and study. So you know, it was different, but I pulled it off, and I was
Yeah.
happy about it and stuff like
Did a
that. So
damn good job. That's
yeah,
crazy.
so now I only have one class this summer, which is medical terminology. So I want to knock that out and right back in the fall. I'm gonna have four more classes, but hopefully I will be working full time too. Because technically I'm still on leave with my knee injury and stuff like that. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find a
Ooh.
way. I'm trying to change career paths. My surgery was considered a partial knee replacement. And the only reason we
Yeah.
were talking about it is because because I was as young as I was. Had I been 5 years older, he would have been like, it wouldn't have made no sense.
Right.
And stuff like that. So so now I'm living with the fact that I know that no matter what I do from now on, I have to take it easy on this knee and
Right.
stuff like that. And going back to an environment when I was on my leg like 10 and 12 hours a day, you know, that's not gonna,
Sheesh. Yeah,
it's
that's
not
gonna be
gonna
yeah.
really fly for me anymore and stuff like that. So just trying to do something different, just trying to, think outside the box. I've always kind of wanted to get into it. My sister actually does it, so had been always talking about it and stuff like that. But now, and I'm grateful that I came to Texas to recuperate, but ended up kind of singing and stuff like that. My dad, my stepmom took me in with open arms and stuff like that, and they've been really the crutch that has helped me, food, shelter, light and air, water. So, and with my mom and my sister helping me too on the financial side. So I've just been really, really grateful that I actually have the family, my brother and everybody else, have the family that will support me to go back to school. I'll be 45 July 4th. Not everybody just, most people like, fuck you, grown, bitch. They help
Right.
you like that, you know. So I was able that grateful that I do have I do have a family that definitely has stepped up in the realm of me, and me just trying not to let them down and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. When I was taking those classes, trying to get the second degree, I think I mentioned that I wasn't hustling, I wasn't working, and so I was kind of dependent on financial aid, and financial aid people was on some bullshit. Every kind of financial aid that I would discover that I qualified, I even signed up because I had a kid. Right? I signed up for the county because they had a whole program and shit, right? That would help single mothers and shit, right? Get into college and give them gas cards and just all kind of shit, right? At the end, I don't qualify for none of that because I already had a degree, right? So it was like, yeah, get the fuck out. So it was a whole bunch of different things that I was going through, and it was always in the, you sign up for the classes, they let you start. You know what I'm saying? I would finagle my book some kind of way, waiting for financial aid to come through. Middle of the semester, everybody else got bread. I got to call Felicia. I got to call my little big sister. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And cry on her shoulder. And, and it was a trip because she was able to not only help me out, right, on the financial tip, but Felicia comes from that background, right? So she has worked, what I'm saying, in, governmental positions and shit. So she know what the fuck to tell me to do, right? So, and of course, I'm petty as shit and an asshole on top of it, right? Especially when it's something that I got coming and you figuring out a way not to give it to me. Oh man, we're gonna have a whole little conversation about this with your supervisors involved. We're gonna pay your ass and all that.
Everybody involved.
And it's funny, right? Because everything Felicia told me to do, right, especially dealing with the county people, right? And I had a sister who was actually younger than me, right? That was my worker. And I swear, I'm so not exaggerating. Every single thing that I asked for, she found a reason why I wasn't supposed to get it. Every single thing that she denied me, when I was telling Felicia would tell me, well, hit the supervisor up and tell him whoop, 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 whoop. I hit the supervisor up and tell him that. Supervisor sign off on my shit. And then old girl would be like, yeah, well, you told on me. And I'm like, shit. Well, why
you was doing your damn job?
You know what I'm saying?
You was like
say
hating.
Right.
Act like I'm taking your money.
She would say
like
shit.
You own the money.
Look, she would say shit to me like, well, I ain't gonna lose my job trying to get you some shit. Like, really? And then here was the funny shit, right? Well, like she knew my story, right? Like where I've been, you know what I'm saying? My education shit, my prison history, all that. And I always kind of thought that, well, maybe it's because she kind of, making a judgment on me and shit, right? Like I'm a thug nigga trying to get over on the system or some shit like that, standing in the way. Come to find out, right, the last month that I had to deal with her, she let it slip that she was transferring somewhere else. And I was like, oh, why is that? It's like way out in the fucking rural area. She's like, oh, well, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but my dude is getting out. I was like, getting out? She's like, yeah, he's in prison. He been in
you that bad.
Come on, man. I'm like, damn, what was I looking like what you was thinking this nigga was gonna look like when he got there, or what really was going on, right? Was you mad you made a precipitous choice that you could have had the thug
And every
nigga
time
that
you
was
told me,
already
you
out?
thought about it, like, right.
Well, maybe she mad because she know her nigga ain't gonna get out doing the same shit. He gonna get out and live off of her little shit.
I'm in there. Look, I'm in there. She would say some shit to me. You know how my brain works and shit, right? I just start spitting numbers behind my philosophy and calculating fucking figures in my head and be like, well, how the fuck are you coming up with this when it's supposed to be whoop de whoop whoop? And she just be like, well, Mr. Rogers, you just have a different way of looking at it. No, I'm looking at the goddamn shit how it's supposed to be. What you mean?
If I go to your supervisor and get it, bitch, that means you can give it to me.
Hate it.
So why are you acting like
she
that?
was taking hating to the next level, right?
That's crazy.
When I told Felicia, I was like, man, you ain't gonna believe this girl told me she waited for her dude, moving to the middle of the desert with his parents after he'd been in the joint for 27 years. Felicia was like, oh yeah, she wanted to give you some before he got there. I was like, ah! Right. She should have just signed off on everything. Give me the bread, little mama.
That's the best way to get it, goddammit.
Around the block or something.
Give a little, get a lot, goddammit.
Look, she had to be that extreme with it. She was real extreme. Like, I'm not gonna have it, and you're not gonna have it either.
But that's crazy though, just how and we people. And you would think that you would do anything you can to help a nigga out, especially knowing the situation. You know what I'm saying?
As a matter of fact, I got
that
to
is
give it a shout
ridiculous.
out, right? Because it was when I was in my last semester and I was having really wasn't no more money coming, and I was telling her about all the shit that I've been through with her ass as well as the state, this, that, and the third, trying to get the second degree, and then she was like, well, what you need to do is you need to. And then she stopped and she was like, I don't even know why I'm telling you this because you don't even like me anyway. And I was like, why you think I don't like you? I don't be fucking telling on you. I just be challenging the system, right?
Right.
So then she was like, yeah, what you need to do is you need to try to change your major in this last semester and get a degree for transfer. Don't just try to get another associate. Get an associate for transfer. And then shift your shit to the university, and you'll be halfway through with your bachelor's. Plus, you qualify for all this other additional shit that comes into play at the university level that I had no fucking idea about. And I was like, well, good looking out. Well, see, that's we should have been cool. And she was
she came strong in the end.
Right, in the end. And then she was like, yeah, well, I'm about to leave anyway. I'm like, where you going? She's like, oh, I'm transferring to 29 Palms and what the fuck is out there?
Right.
Well, my dude, not my boyfriend, not my husband, my dude, right? I was like, damn, how ghetto is you, right? You ghetto as me, right? My dude is getting out.
27 years?
27 years. Like, hey, good looking, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it was fucked up.
That off, my nigga. Big shout out to you.
Yeah, right quick. Hey, and that 27 is gonna be crazy because it's gonna be a totally different world for that nigga when he get out, bro.
Fast forward to last year, and I was taking somebody to the county building in Atlanta, and I had to use the bathroom, so I jumped out the car and went in that bad boy. Coming out, and who do I run into? Her dog ass. Right back where she started at. All I would say, she seen me first. She was like, hey, Mr. Rogers. And I was like, and then I just thought about it. And I was like, yeah, that shit didn't work out for you.
Didn't work out too hot.
The spring area didn't work out for her.
That new shit was too much for her to handle. Like, fuck that. And I got all these kids. She had told me all that shit. I got all these kids, 5 kids.
Woo! You was trying to make it work with somebody who's been in that 27 years.
With 5 kids. Woo!
That nigga got out. We had a whole fucking show on that, right? That nigga got out and realized, I really don't like you.
Right.
Right. We talked about that.
I was just joking.
You've been there for a minute and you get out and you realize you don't even really like them. Like,
can't handle that like
really
that.
Like you.
Yeah, Keena, 5 kids. That's what you
That's
say.
what I said. Woo.
Five
More enough for
kids.
him who been in there
God
27
damn.
years. He must have went in when he was buku young.
No, those weren't his kids.
Oh, well.
Those are all her
Well,
kids.
I would imagine because they still with their mama. So, my
Yeah.
oldest kid is grown. I only got one kid that's younger than grown.
Oh, you got two that's
So,
younger than grown.
so to have 5 kids that you toting around with you all the way out to the middle of the fucking desert chasing after a nigga that's been down 27 years, that sounds like a pen pal situation to me.
That turned into something altogether different.
That
Don't you
love.
have like a did you find out last year you got like a 2 year old?
Whew. Don't be playing with me, woman.
I was about to say, Mac.
Don't be playing with me, goddamn it.
Something I don't
I might
know.
look. Let me tell you something. If anything, I'm liable to find out day after tomorrow that I got a 2-year-old grandson.
Right.
I remember somebody said he had found out he had a newborn, like 2 years old last year. I remember that story.
Not me.
Trying to point us off like he married the youngest one. We know you got a 2 year old out there. Shout out to
Let me
the
tell you
youngest
something.
one.
If you can find anybody under 10 years old
Understand.
that the DNA can be traced back to me, he better name himself Houdini. Because he's a damn good escape artist, right? That nigga been escaping from shit since all the way from the start. Right?
That nigga died.
Right.
That nigga like,
That nigga been getting out of shit.
Keep Barney ain't playing that with you. He said I got
impossible.
two in the
My man
possible.
Hatter got two in the possible. There you go. He got two in the possible.
Hilarious.
Like
He
a
got two in
spade
the
hand,
possible.
nigga. My nigga Mad Hatter in the building. Shout out to Mad, man.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's what I say, Keena. Whoo! Shit. Not the kid, boy. I tell you, if
I ain't the one that got some
Larry.
That's one of my boys from junior high school. That's my nigga.
Shout out. And shout out for watching us on YouTube, Kevin. Thank you. Like and subscribe. He's not a 2-year-old. I'm just playing with y'all. Yeah. I don't know Keith to have a 2-year-old.
I already know. Look, I already know who was gonna jump in my DMs with the where you get a 2-year-old from. So let's just stay up out of my shit, right?
You already know. You already know.
Keep your black ass up out of my shit.
You already know it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna tell you right now. Before we sign off on this motherfucker, it was just jokes, damn it. It was just jokes, damn it. Just jokes, damn it. We're gonna make that clear right now.
Before we go off, well, let me ask you something, Keena. It's really not really apply to you, Frank. And this is all the way off topic, but it's a question that I have. So, say I'm with a chick for some years, right? It's a serious relationship, right? And during that relationship, right, it was kind of understood that shit, we didn't want no kids. You know what I'm saying? We on some other shit, right? So we held it careful. You know what I'm saying, about not having no fucking kids and shit, right? So ain't no scares, ain't no slip ups, no break-in and keep none of that shit, right? It's just all the way, you know what I'm saying? Just 100 what it's supposed to be. Relationship comes to an end. Shortly thereafter, the dude gets with another chick and she immediately gets pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What is the expectation for the guy? What should he expect his longtime ex-girl to feel? Now, mind you, they still friends and, in the same friend zone, same circle of friends, this, that, and third. So it ain't like, oh, well, let's just make it big. It ain't like, oh, well, K-Mac You heard K-Mac had a baby. Girl, what? Yeah, K-Mac got a little girl. Whoop, whoop. She didn't have a baby for him. Nah, it's like, the baby mama, and you see her and all that shit, right? So how is she supposed to feel? Mind you, the relationship is over with.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's definitely probably gonna be it's gonna be a hurtful situation. Words may be said in the beginning and stuff like that. I really feel like the reason that that's not going to be an issue is because you got to stand on what you want. If and you need to know that, like, that's the hard conversation you need to have with people. I really feel like, as a woman, if you want to have kids, then don't be swayed by somebody else that you don't. If that's not really what you want, if you really don't know if you can look back down your life and say that you didn't, then then don't. Because if you want to, I, that's just like another form of oppression to me. And now here it is. Now somebody else. When all these years you really wanted kids, but you were just going with it to go with it because you really wanted to be with that person. We gotta stop doing that shit.
What if, and because this happens so much, so many times, well,
Mm-hmm.
probably more often than not
It's
for the
not.
man.
It does.
No. What I was going to say is what happens more often than not, and what I was going to ask you about is what if for the man he wasn't planning on having a kid, he just did some irresponsible shit, and now
Mm-hmm.
she's pregnant. Now, mind you, he's pretty much taken out of the conversation. You know what I'm saying, in terms of whether or not the kid is going to, you know, be here, right? His choice now is to deal with whatever her choice is. And that's not what I want the conversation to be about because we'll go way deep on that shit, right?
I mean, I
But
really feel
just
like at
get
this point, that's if y'all not together. That's kind of their business. You kind of have to go with that, and on top of that, you have to be you have to be good in that was your decision at the time that you didn't. Because if you did and that was something you just went with, then now you're sitting with regret.
what you think, Frank?
Um, okay, if it's the other way around, like the male situation and female end up having a baby, I would
Right.
be, I would be kind of perplexed about that. Like, really, all of a sudden though, like really, you know what I mean? And then but I mean, I'm a loving dude, so I get
We're
over it.
just extra careful with you, Frank.
Uh, at at that point though, I'm vindictive. I'd probably go find the next pretty broad I can find and have 10 kids and be like, bitch, damn,
No,
and mine
no,
look better than yours.
I wouldn't be
God
ready.
damn, Frank.
You can't do
And
that.
mine look better than
No, Frank,
yours.
you can't do that.
And you married to one
I
of my
got
I
next
kids.
thought I was
to have
petty.
about 10 kids. No, Frank, no, no.
I thought I
I'm
was the
I,
petty ass
I'm that
cancer
kind.
and shit. This
I'm that
nigga's
kind
on
of
some
petty
whole
man.
other
You know what I'm
shit.
saying?
Mm-mm.
But nah, I'd be mad for a minute, but I get
Yeah,
over it though. I get over it. I mean, I guess we all do. You know what I mean?
right.
So my answer, and here, let me say this in all, what do you call it when you real clear? When you in all transparency, in the
Mm-hmm.
spirit of transparency. I asked this question because it kind of just popped into my mind. Um, I actually have been that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a relationship with a chick for a considerable amount of time, probably the longest relationship I've been in my life, right? In terms of time frame. And it kind of ended shitty, but we found a way to remain friends.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly thereafter, um, I end up hooking up with Kimari's mama, and she got pregnant fast, right? And our scenario was it wasn't like um, I'd filed Miss Right and was building and we was on some other shit. Let me just say that, right? And she happened to get pregnant. And when I say happened, I'm not saying it like I alleviate myself from any responsibility. It was on me, definitely, to the extent that at the time, I actually said, your ass is gonna get fucking pregnant, man. And to which extent she was like, and what? So in any event, Kimari, showed up. You know what I'm saying? It was what it was. It wasn't like I had a desire to have, more kids, or, I was kind of like out of the raising kid age range, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Carrie was 8 years old or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't time for me to have no baby, but it is what God wanted to happen. So I didn't have no problem with it, right? I just simply adopted the role, right? It was party was over with. You know what I'm saying? It's time for me to try to establish a solid foundation, to raise this nigga. And that solid foundation was found in my same community that I existed in with this other chick for over a decade, right? So she wasn't going no fucking where. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, when the baby came, let me stop and say this. All my kids from Keith all the way down, right? This girl loves them all. Kids, stepkids, god kids, she loves them all like they're hers, right? She just didn't want no kids. That was my understanding. And shit, when Kimari came around, she was pissed. And I didn't understand it in my male ass way, right? My reaction to her being hurt was, the fuck are you mad about? I don't fuck with you like that. Now, what it took is for me to kind of step out of myself and put myself in her shoes. Took a minute, you know what I'm saying? But I put myself in her shoes and said, what would I feel like? And in actuality, actually here, let me tell it the real way. I didn't put myself in her shoes. She put me in her shoes because she got pregnant, had a child, and I'm the godfather, right? So again, you know what I'm saying? I had to look at it from a different way. And you know what I'm saying, was I mad at her? I was low key, like, what the fuck? If you was gonna have a baby, motherfucker, all these years, you said, I could have been gave your ass a baby. You feel what I'm saying? So I kind of understood what she felt. And I'm empathetic, especially the way things turned out. And, it's always all love, even though I love hit her ass and she know. But yeah.
But again, that just brings me back to my point that if it's something you want, then you shouldn't say it's something that you don't want, because she immediately was hurt in reference to that, which she shouldn't have been if she just really didn't want no kids. Now, I would say that I would have felt like she was more hurt because you're tied down to someone else, and she might have thought she's always had that last tie with. That's more believable to me. However, I'm more inclined to believe that she wanted kids and went with it, or y'all both did it. Because it seemed like y'all both were feeling a certain kind of way in reference to each other having kids. But I think it has more to do with the ties y'all had to each other.
I think that you might be right on that.
Yo, Puff in the building.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that.
I had some sort of like the same parallel, but it wasn't to the same magnitude because we were kids. But with my first love, I've had conceived my first child while having sex with her unprotected, and for some reason she wouldn't get pregnant. But the moment she had sex with somebody else, she had a son, and that was crazy to me. That was the craziest shit to me. Yeah, for some reason she wouldn't have kids with me.
I mean, there is a higher power, so God.
Yeah. It just wasn't meant to be at that point.
Gotta have it. You was in the game. You did go away, and if that was always going to happen, then that would have been bad.
Right, and exactly, like it just wasn't meant to be. But I always thought that was crazy, though.
Right.
It's like, really?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like God be looking out for us when we're not looking out for ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, you're damn right.
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 Hey, what
Right. Well,
is here is what's meant to be. So that's pretty much how that go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's still
Right.
perplexing nonetheless. Goddamn, it's still perplexing. Like, what the hell?
everything happened like it's supposed to. How we how we perceive it is on us.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we had another great conversation. I love when we
Yes,
go over so I can say, damn, we went over again. I want to thank everybody that joined us today on the live, Facebook and YouTube. Join us for, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for jumping
Yep.
up in the comments. All of you guys that have been tuned in. We have been. Oh, I want to shout out Nick again. I know he probably might be watching in the car if he got
He probably still sitting in that damn traffic. For him.
Mr. Nash, my man. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, man.
Yeah,
Miss you.
Nick Nass will be back with us tomorrow. Make it back up that hill safe, bro.
Yeah.
What else do we usually say? Oh, thanks for joining us on the live. Catch us on the replay on both platforms. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you've already subscribed over on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, jump over there, hit us with the sub, and click the notification bell as well. Once again, we have been live at 5/7 Central from the Piranha Pond.